Alright guys, David back at you with Express Auto again. We've got the valve body for our 2015 Tahoe here on the bench. We're going to tear this thing down and finish the sonnax zip kit valve body install. So give us a few minutes, we'll get this thing all cleaned up and we'll be back with you to show you how all the parts go in. Alright guys, we've got our valve body all cleaned up. If you guys would like to take a look here at what it all looks like nice and cleaned up. I'm going to go turn that flush machine off where we can hear what we're talking about here. We'll get to work. Alrighty, now we're going to open up our bag of goodies here and start dragging some pieces and parts and stuff and things out. We've already used some of this stuff in the pump, which that's in the first video. If you guys are curious what happened in that video, check it out. We'll try to put the link in the description or down on the thingy there, somewhere in there, of what's going on there. Alrighty, we're going to start with putting our new end plugs in. These end plugs that Sonnax provides are aluminum, just like the factory plugs. But the difference is that these plugs have O-rings on them. One of the biggest benefits of the O-ring on the end of it, the fluid that is coming in on this side of the valve, this plug will now be sealed so it doesn't have to have a leak coming out of the outside of it. Anytime you can prevent cross leaks in the valve body or leaks in the hydraulic circuit, you're better off and your transmission will thank you for it. So we're going to take the solid plug out. We're going to plunge our valve a few times.
You see the difference. Flat.
O-ring. We're going to pull our valve out and just take a look at it, make sure that there's no major signs of distress or any dirt or debris in it. Put our spring back in, drop our valve body back, or valve back in the valve body. Take our new end plug, put a little bit of goop on it, assembly goo. I'm gonna stick her in the hole. Put our keeper back into place. Make sure the keeper is nice and tight. Make sure the valve is free. And we'll move on to the next one. Alright, move on to our next one and continue this process forward. The instructions for the sonnax kit are very well written and have wonderful pictures for you guys that don't know how to read and prefer to look at the diagram only. That's all fine and dandy, and you can get most of this done without too much reading. But for those of you guys that do like to read, the instructions come with a lot of information on vacuum testing, a lot of information on how to check for cross leaks, how to find out if the valve body bore is worn too far that the sonnax valve will not hold. So if you're going to be doing these things and you're going to be trying to make a living at it or trying to do this to help a friend out, if you don't have the testing equipment, I recommend getting the testing equipment for that. Actually, vacuum testing the bore for the lockup valve and the accumulator valve is something that I am very particular on. If either one of those bores is worn farther than what it's supposed to be, you create a leak. And the leak in the lockup valve will actually damage the lockup converter and cause a shutter. The way we found out about it was stupidity. Didn't know about the problem. Sent a bunch of transmissions out without vacuum testing our valve bodies correctly. And we had comebacks. We had lockup shutters. They'd get 10,000 miles on the unit and it'd come back and it'd start shuttering real bad. So after following the instructions, taking the time to read and doing more research and more diagnosis and figuring out how to do what we need to do correctly, we found that the information in the zip kit already tells you how to vacuum test the pump and it tells you how to vacuum test the valve body to make sure that you're doing your job correctly. So if you're going to be doing this, check those spots. It will come back and bite you if you don't. We're going to continue on with what we're doing here, what we started this adventure on. And we are down to our final end plug in this kit, or this section of the kit. The clutch select valves use end plugs as well, and we will get to those here very shortly. When you're taking the valve inside of the bore there and you're moving it to get your end plug out, be very, very, very careful not to nick the side of that valve. Get out of there. I always like to make sure the valve is nice and free, everything's moving the way it's supposed to. Another one of the main reasons why you pull the valve out, that valve is aluminum. If you nick it with the pick and you go up on top here, you scratch this, that scratch will actually damage the inside of this bore, causing that valve to stick, causing weird problems whenever you test it. So always make sure that you are not the creator of your own problem. It can be done. We have all done it. It's part of this industry. But a little bit of time, a little bit of inspection, you can prevent those kind of problems. On to our last one of this packet. I think this is step 4 in the kit. Yeah, this is step 4. We done step 1 and 2 earlier. Pump cover and valve and a bunch of other stuff. Alrighty, that step is done. So we are going to move on to step number 5, and that is the last step of this half of the valve body. May take me a quick water break during that time period when we change over from first half to second half of the valve body, mainly because it is hot and I am thirsty. Get this valve out of here. This valve and this bore is one of the main ones that has the issues. So in the kit comes a new valve and a new spring and a bushing that goes inside of this bore or sleeve or whatever you want to call it. This is not like an AFL valve. There's no ring on the end of it or retaining end at all. You want to make sure that your valve is in the sleeve correctly. If you put this thing in backwards, you'll have a really fun time trying to figure that one out. But we've already vacuum tested this portion of the valve body. If you guys would like to see a more in-depth vacuum test of how that actually works sometime, reach out in the comments, let me know, and we'll see if we can't get that on camera for you. But for now, we're going to put this spring in here. Use a cheating trick, use a Phillips head screwdriver, and you can actually hold on to the spring fairly well. Voila, that one is in. Now we're going to move to the other side of our valve body and see if we can get something done over there. Thank you guys for taking your time to watch our videos this evening. We really appreciate everybody liking and subscribing, all that fun, wonderful stuff. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys on the next one.